It's Freestyle Fridays, which means that I'm going to hot seat your business, whatever problems, whatever ideas that you need to clarify and get straight so that you grow an empire that transforms the world. That's what Freestyle Fridays are about. Or if you just need a little bit of motivation to be able to kickstart your day, finish your week, start your week, to rock your week. So that's what Freestyle Fridays are about. So every Friday I do a 6 a.m. coffee with Shanda. And basically what that means is that you can ask me anything you want in your business and I will answer it totally pro bono for free. I won't hold anything back. I won't bait, switch you, and kind of wheel you into coach with me. I just will straight out just give to you. So hi, you guys. I know that yesterday we had a situation with my son, and I just feel like I just want to take a moment and just say thank you to all the people who sent me private messages, sent me messages on Instagram, on Facebook. Just really, really kind and sweet of you guys to care. He is doing good. Thank God another mom in the community, a couple moms reached out and just gave me some advice about Zach. And it worked out that he actually basically had tight muscles, and as a 2-year-old didn't understand what that meant. And so he was screaming, help mommy, from 5 a.m., get this, till 2 straight. He was just holding his neck like this, and the poor little guy. Anyway, we took him to a spinal cord expert, and they did some adjustments on the little guy, not cracking him. They actually just tapped on him here, and his shoulder and his whole body released. And then he ran around the office like a typical 2-year-old getting into everything. So thank you, you guys, for all asking. Okay, let's get into Freestyle Fridays. So here's what we do. What we do right now is you give me a question. You give me a question that you want me to answer inside your business, and then I will answer it and everybody will hear it. So some of my best advice ever, even in my own business, has come from listening to people get hot seated. So it can be super valuable. Hi, Alicia. How are you? Hi, Julia and Andrews. I can't wait to see what you do this year. Hi, Shanda. Awesome. Okay. Paige, how do you formulate or create your coaching packages when you're first getting started in your coaching business? Any suggested resources? Okay, so that's a great question. And we're actually a marketing mastery going through content this whole next mastermind that we're doing. So it's not really a quick answer to that, but there is a bit of a quick answer to that. So first and foremost, don't overthink things. So the first step is, Paige, when you're coming up with, let's say, a coaching program, is I always recommend checking with an audience first, meaning that if you have an email list, or you just, hopefully you have an email list, right? And so then what you do, that's the easiest way. Then you just actually send out a survey, a short survey, 7, 8 questions, and you ask them specific things about what you do to find out the pain points. So for instance, if I was a meditation instructor and I built an email list and I wanted to say, launch a TM course on meditation, how to meditate, or how to meditate to make money, how to meditate. First you ask yourself, like, what is my sweet spot that I really help people with? Then you got to find out, well, in that sweet spot, in that ocean sweet spot, what do people need in that ocean sweet spot? So, Alex, you're a real estate person. Carla, you're a designer. I called you a designer. A stylist, right? I'm a business coach. We've got meditation people. So you look at, like, that's general, right? So obviously we could ask general questions, like in the stylist situation, like, what is your biggest challenge with getting dressed in the morning? Do you see how that's kind of general? However, she went, what am I best at? Well, I'm best at styling high-powered, driven men and women who are professionals. Okay, well then the question might be something like, when you're getting ready for an event or an important meeting or a talk or a presentation, what is the biggest challenge you have when choosing your clothes? Right? So that's really specific, so then what she's going to get is she's going to get a response back from her audience that is very specific. Like, I don't know what to wear. I don't know how to put my clothes together. I don't have any clothes. I don't know how to accessorize. Now, here's an important thing. If you create a program or a product before you ask an audience what they need, then you're in the general boat of like guessing, right? So like Carla could do that survey out to her email list, and she might find that 60% of her people say, I don't know how to accessorize. I don't know how to accessorize my outfits, right? And so then for her creating programs, products, services, she would actually take the survey, and instead of like how to pick out your perfect clothes for that important presentation, which might be a hook or messaging that she has in her marketing, she would shift it to how to find, like, how to organize your closet so it best puts you in so that it best makes you give the brand or the representation that you're interested in giving, or the impression, the reputation, and how to accessorize it to make you pop so they never forget you, or so that they actually make an investment in you. That's kind of a rough, that's not like a well-polished, but that's how I would start creating a program. Is I would start with a survey, and then I would start with these rough ideas on how to serve them with my program. And so typically you can come up with anywhere between 2 or 7 different points that you have, or different content topics that you have in a coaching program. But if you don't, you can see how if you don't build an email list first, which is something we teach in hyper warp speed, if you don't do that first and then spend the rest of your career continuing to build that email list, then you're going to be at the unfortunate changes of the internet. You guys ever notice that on Facebook, all of a sudden, like, nobody sees your stuff, or on Instagram, only 10% see your stuff? So we spend all this time building these audiences, and then nobody sees our stuff, right? So get them off social, get them into an email list, survey the email list, and then start putting together the coaching program or whatever your offer is based on what the survey says. So I hope that helps you, Paige. Another little piece that I'll say is, I always look to create interactive. So even look at Coffee with Shanda. On Coffee with Shanda, there's actually a whole content calendar that goes with Coffee with Shanda to basically give the most value. And in fact, right now, there's a suggestion box, so you have a voice, which is actually in the description of the Facebook page right now, and the YouTube page, which this will be put up on. There's a suggestion box underneath this video. Go make sure that you take some time after this Coffee with Shanda to answer those questions. That is like a survey. I'm getting information from people, and instead of showing up to deliver my content to my clients in programs, products, or services, or even what I'm creating online, I'm just a firm believer in not making stuff up. Have you ever figured out that you run out of stuff to talk about? So serve your audience, and that will cause your audience to get great results in your products, programs, and services. And it'll also help you continue to be relevant and useful to your people. And, the whole deal is not about selling somebody once. It's about keeping them for a lifetime, which means you have to develop being really good at what you do. And in my opinion, the best way to be really good at what you do is to serve people what they want. So I hope that helps. Awesome. Great question. Natasha, I'm a terrible marketer of my own business. Do you have any advice, books, recommendations, and references? Yeah, so copywriting. If you're a terrible marketer, you probably just don't know how to position yourself, or don't know how to, obviously survey is really important, right? Like even the suggestion box I have with Coffee with Shanda. So that helps you become a good marketer, because even if you're a shitty marketer and you talk about what people want, they're still going to get connected to that. When someone gets connected to anything, now currency can flow from that, right? So try not to put too much pressure on yourself about having to be an extraordinary marketer, and put more attention on being an extraordinary person. An extraordinary person always just stops and says, not the concern on what I'm doing or how I'm showing up in the essence of, am I being good at marketing, or am I being good at, building this business or serving my clients? It's about, if you focus out, like, am I being a great wife? Like this morning, yesterday, Ash had said that he wanted to ask his parents to come out to San Diego this weekend. And I'm actually going to work on Saturday. and I'm going to work for about 3 hours on Saturday, which is odd for me. And there's some videos and things that I need to do for my marketing department, talking about marketing, that I need to do for them, and I'm behind, especially since today's wiped out and tomorrow's wiped out with my son, because we're going back to the specialist today. So my point in sharing all of that with you is that I get to compensate this weekend and work for 3 hours, right, to make up for 2 days of not being in the office. And so I said that to him yesterday, and I said, would you mind just sticking to your original plan and going out to Newport? So this is me focusing on me, right? And then this morning I woke up and I was rethinking about that, and I was like, like, my husband gets to win too, right? And so I appreciate, he was so beautiful and said, babe, I'll support you on what you need and I'll go out there. But I could tell that, like, he had no attitude with it, but I could tell that it would just, he's got enough on his plate right now and what he's doing, and he just could really use a break. And so, I just stopped this morning and said, if you need them to come out here, you want them to come out here, please feel free to do that. Just let me know what the plan is, and I'll work around that. I could, and then immediately a new solution came up. He's like, yeah, you could go to our office at the High Burst headquarters and do the videos you need to do in front of our set, which is way better anyway. You know what I mean? And so, I find that, like, great solutions come into our marketing, which is really just landing your messaging, landing your plan, when you're being useful to people. And useful is about really just loving somebody else up. So generosity, I teach this to our clients in contests and throughout the year whenever I can. It's really part of the curriculum, is I teach them how to look up and be generous. And that, if you watch my clients who play our contests and things like that, when they get over themselves and they start operating like that, they tend to become much better marketers because they're focused out. So I hope that helps, Natasha. As far as a reference, for studying marketing, I would say, what is the thing that you really need right now to do, and hyper-focus on that one thing, right? So with your coach, with your, like, podcast, with any of that, instead of just being general about learning marketing, ask yourself, like, for instance, one of the things that's really up for me is learning a video sales letter. And I really want to learn a video sales letter. And so it's actually scheduled in 2 weeks. So it's not like there's no scarcity, like, I gotta get this done now, because if I don't get this done now, I'm not gonna make any money. Like, you gotta just, like, really chill that attitude out, because that's you getting, right? So I get urgency, that's important. But it reduces the pressure on my mind when I know that it's actually scheduled on my calendar. And what I'll do is I'll actually start Googling podcasts on YouTube, stuff like that, and I'm going to find whatever presentation of somebody who's marketing a video sales letter, and I'm going to look for reviews, and I'm going to look for stuff like that, and then I'm going to study it because it's on my calendar in 2 weeks from now. Okay, so reduce the pressure, get hyper-focused on the thing you want to learn, and know your why and why you want to learn that. Now, I will say, as a business owner, you better build a freaking audience first before you worry about what's your messaging, what's your product, what's all of that stuff. You don't have a business if you don't have anybody to sell to or make offers to, okay? So really make sure that you're smart and strategic in how you're prioritizing your efforts. Awesome. Susan, I completed your 5-day movement challenge. Loved it. Thank you. I loved the content in that. And completed it. List Power, can I use my message? List Power, can I use my message to sell the summit? I think that's what you mean. And completed List Power. Can I use my message? Can I use my message to sell my summit? Susan, I'm confused. I'm totally confused. I'm sorry, honey. I'm trying to answer your question. Maybe you could just ask me that. What do you mean by can you use your message to sell your summit? Can you just restructure that question for me around that specific thing so I can help you? Okay, cool. Annette! What is my one question? What is the one question that you should always ask your influencer on your online show? Ooh, that's a great question. So this probably will be a surprise to you. I think the most important question is after the interview. And after the interview, I always take a moment. This is in the essence of generosity. And I ask the person that's on my online show that I'm interviewing, I ask them, what are you working on this year that's just so important to you that if it happened, it would absolutely just light your world up? And then they tell me, and I ask them why that's important to them. And if you understand my sales system, my 5-step sales system, which is really based on giving, my I solve model, it's actually the beginning of my I solve model. And the reason why I love that question, or any structure of that question, is because I find out what's most important to somebody right now and why. And almost always, there is a way that I could help them. A piece of encouraging advice, someone I can connect them with, or even something I can do in my own expertise. I'm teaching somebody, I would say quite famous in the coaching industry, how to do a contest right now. And as I'm teaching it to her, I keep saying to her, and I was just saying to somebody else that I taught this to, Allison Maslin, and some other awesome friends of mine, and I said, I really need to put this into a product. Like, I really need to sit down, create the space, and put this into a product. So it's something that not only I can sell, who are doing events and doing, building like multi-seven-figure companies that really have the leadership to lead something like this. I said, I really need to put into a product, but I just haven't made the time to do this. Well, my friend, the celebrity who's learning how to do this, actually, like, instead of just taking my advice, and I said this to her yesterday, I commended her on her generosity. She actually has written the entire outline and the content of the product and even named it for me, so it's done. You know what I mean? There's some few tweaks for me to do on it, but she's actually laid out the entire product for me. And I share this with you because this is just an indication on the way that people think that continue to have limitless growth. You know what I mean? Like, they continue to have limitless growth. They tend to have a lot of really great, powerful people around them because they're never the type of people who are like, I can only focus on me because I got enough on my plate, right? They're the type of people who look up and are always finding ways to make a difference. So I think the most important question that you could ever ask somebody that you're interviewing is what's really important to them. And then once they tell you, you ask them why, so that you can get the heart of why they're even saying that. And now you'll create a connection, because your network is your net worth. And your network is connected to pretty much any problem you could ever have in your life being solved. In my group of friends and in my mastermind, there's really nothing that I can't get solved. And that's because of the people that surround me. But if I was a taker, and a lot of times you don't think you're a taker because you do nice things for people, but I think that's just a biblical standard. That's like a standard in scripture to, take care of your neighbor, right? To be a good person. But often we think that that qualifies us for it's enough giving. And if you ever have the conversation that I give too much, honestly, you're in for a huge breakthrough, especially if you spend time with me, because I give more today, and I've got technically less time with a child and a company and, 14, 15 employees and, and growing rapidly. Like, I've got more going on today than I ever have. And I have more space to be able to help people than ever before. But that's because the way my mind thinks now. I can help somebody so quickly now. And sometimes it takes longer, like teaching someone a contest. But you always receive so much more back. So I hope that answered your question. All right, you guys, it's Freestyle Fridays, and I'm excited next week for some great content for you. I've got some great influencers that are coming on to help me serve on 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda, because I'll be actually in our leadership training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Anybody out there doing our leadership training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I'm excited to get to know you. We are sold out, and it's going to be an incredible 3 days. So I'm going to be in that training room with everybody for 3 amazing days. And so we will have Coffee with Shanda, some with me and some with some insanely powerful teachers that are going to come and teach you marketing, come and teach you how to lead your business, come and teach you how to develop new ideas. And so you're in for a real treat next week. All right, you guys, I will talk to you soon. God bless. Please take a moment and share this Facebook Live. Tag somebody on Instagram. I appreciate you spreading the love. All right, talk to you soon.